Welcome back, free thinkers, peace seekers, good folks of all types. How's it going? My name is Michael Parker. This is Dark Matter on Karma Air. Today we're speaking with Giorgio Tsoukalos about ancient astronauts. He was on a couple of weeks ago, and I enjoyed this subject so much I wanted to have him back on. Giorgio founded the Center for Ancient Astronaut Research in 1998 with Erich Dopatke. I hope I'm pronouncing that correct. And Erich was on board with you guys from the get-go, Giorgio, or...
Yes, he was, and yes, you did pronounce that correctly. But yeah, no, Erich has been a big contributor and part of this since the get-go, because none of Erich's books would have ever been written without the help of Ulrich Dopatke. Ulrich Dopatke is a senior librarian at the University Library in Bern, Switzerland. And he has been actually probably Erich's closest friend since the mid-70s, early 80s. And so Erich was definitely a big contributor and a co-founder of Legendary Times. And, you know, every issue that we publish, we try to have at least one article by Erich in there. And, sometimes about 2 years ago, we've just organized a tour with Erich in the U.S., and that also happened back in 99 and in 2000, that I had a little lecture tour with Erich, and he came to California and the East Coast as well. And, so definitely, and of course, the Legendary Times also, or this organization also exists in the German-speaking countries of Germany, Switzerland, and Austria. And Legendary Times, even though we also have our own articles, original articles, some articles are direct translations of the German edition, because the ancient astronaut theory, by the way, is wildly popular in Europe, especially in German-speaking countries, because of Erich being a German-speaking individual.
Mm-hmm. Well, that makes sense. And Giorgio, while we were on our commercial break, we actually got a call from somebody who wants to ask you a question about Erich Von Daniken. I believe that this is Bruce from Philadelphia. Bruce, are you there?
Hey, how you doing today?
Hey, Bruce, how's it going?
No different.
What's on your mind?
It's one picture I've been interested in, trying to get it for a long time. It's a picture that Von Daniken has of Olmec flying through the air. He has a headpiece on, he has goggles, and he has a attachment going from his ear down to his face. Down to his mouth, which is obviously it's like a speaker, a microphone, and he got the earphones and stuff on. Now, I cannot find that picture anywhere. I don't know what book of his that it was in.
Well, that actually, quite honestly, there are hundreds of statues and reliefs and friezes like that you can find, but in all likelihood, the picture that you're looking for, or a similar one, can be found in the book called In Search of Ancient Gods.
Okay,
that is the first. Yeah, that's the first.
Okay, that's what I've been looking for. All right, now, I don't want to waste so much time. Other one is that you remember Clifford Wilson?
Yes.
Well, he did the story called was on Nova called Crash Go to Chariot.
Sure.
Where he's the one everybody always talk about. Well, that was just proven, and they used his show on, like I said, on Nova to just, to prove that Von Daniken was wrong. The problem with that was he came back afterwards, and he wrote a book that went even further. Are you aware of that?
Oh, absolutely.
One called The Alien Agenda.
Yeah. No, what's happened is that Wilson's book, Crash Go to Chariots, was marketed as the archaeologist's antidote to Chariots of the Gods, written by an archaeologist. And the other book that was also written was Some Trust in Chariots. And to make a long story short, this was exposed as a fraud because Wilson was, by any means of the imagination, was not an archaeologist, but he was an evangelical priest.
Holy cow.
Well,
So
Everybody's a liar when it comes to this, come to debunking. Because I had said on one time when I was on a show one day, hosting a show, I had stated that, there is no, to prove that it wasn't, that it's true, there is no missing link, between man and ape, unless you count debunking.
And that is exactly actually what I wanted to say before, also at the beginning of the show, that this, I'm hearing some.
Yeah, we've got some feedback here.
Okay. Everybody talks about this missing link, and the missing link essentially is the part that's missing in between the fossil record when we transition from one species to the next, or from one shape or form to the other. And the missing link is that part that Darwin had a big problem with, and he himself, and anybody can go and read this in The Origin of Species, that he himself admits, I haven't a clue what this missing link is. So in the ancient astronaut theory, the missing link is extraterrestrial intervention.
Well, to go, Giorgio, regarding this 97% of DNA, I mean,
that is referred to as junk DNA. And I really, I hold a firm conviction that, we should treat this junk DNA not as junk, but we should start looking at that, because there's so many base pairs in there, so many letters, that if there is we should investigate whether or not there is some pattern to all of this. If someone has left us a message in there. Sure, the ancient astronaut theory or the UFO field, we're all looking for physical evidence, a crashed
some hardware or something,
or some a ray gun,
right,
or whatever. But if you spin this a little bit further, what if the evidence is not out there, but the evidence is within all of us, inside our genetic makeup?
Mm-hmm.
And, Paul Davis, he actually he's an Australian physicist. He actually, not too long ago, about 6-7 months ago, proposed just that, and I almost fell out of my chair when I read the proposal, because, and obviously I wrote a rebuttal, which is going to be published in the next issue of Legendary Times. However, what he did not mention is that you can read any ancient astronaut book from the 70s in which the same exact suggestion is made, that we should start looking at our genetic makeup, because we will find traces of a artificial genetic mutation of our genes in our own DNA. And it'll happen. It'll happen if, of course, this information is leaked, or if it comes out in the public, is anyone's guess. When that happens, it will happen. When, I haven't a clue.
We've only got a couple of minutes before the break, but this gentleman, this Paul Davis, I'm trying to remember if I was aware of this article or not. What did he say now?
He essentially said that, give the world one more option, because of the SETI project that we have. We're listening to potential signals, radio signals of extraterrestrials from other planets. He said, we shouldn't just restrict ourselves to searching with radio signals, but, let's look at our genetic makeup, because you have 97% of our DNA that's quote-unquote junk, and he, not being a creationist or anything or anything like that, but he is a scientist, and he can tell that us becoming the way we are by accident, he couldn't swallow that. So he is convinced that there was some, extraterrestrial influence, and he says if anybody left a message, they might have left it in our DNA, because it's such a vast storage medium for information.
Incredible.
Oh, yes.
You guys, my name is Michael Parker. We're speaking with Giorgio Tsoukalos about ancient astronauts. It's fantastic stuff. Please stick with us, you guys. We're going to be right back. It's 888-49-KARMA. We're going to talk more about Von Daniken. We're going to talk about Sitchin. We're going to talk about all of the ancient astronaut ideas and what's going on with Giorgio. Please come back.